Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to cover how to calculate the mean using a TI-84, and I will show you how to do it both with raw data and with group data. So here is that list of raw data that we're using for our example. It's that data on miles jogged per day. And this time we're going to look at how to do this with the TI-84. Get my screen situated. Sorry about that. So I'll pull up my calculator here. And in order to calculate statistics for a list, I need to put that data in a list. So I press Stat, Enter to go to Edit. And then I'm going to put my data in list 1. And you can see there's already data here from class. So I go to the top of the list so that L1 is highlighted, and then Clear, Enter. I now have a fresh list, and I'm just going to type that data in. You'll notice that our last data point, that 3.9, is in the 20th cell of L1. And that's good because I know that I have 20 data points. So in all likelihood, I typed that in correctly. Now that I have my information in a list, I'm going to press Stat. I'm going to go over to Calc, and I want 1 var stats. I'm going to press Enter. I need to tell the calculator my data's in list 1. If you aren't given a prompt, it still needs that same information. So you need to press second 1 to pull up list 1. We don't have a frequency list. We're just going to go down to Calculate and press Enter. And you will notice that it spits out an X bar of 2.99, which is exactly what we found when we did this by hand. So that is how we find it for raw data. Now we're going to do the same thing for grouped data. So going back to our group data example, you can see that we have a frequency distribution with class limits, class boundaries, and frequency. I only need the class limits and the frequency, or the class boundaries and the frequency. I don't need both of those first 2 columns. I'm going to use class limits because they're whole numbers and they're a little easier to work with. The nice thing about doing this on a calculator is the calculator will calculate, words are hard today, the midpoints for us. We're going to start the same way. I need to get this information into lists. So Stat, Enter gives us the list edit menu, and I'm going to clear out all of the columns of data. Now, if the midpoints are easy to calculate, like in this case, I can see that 3 is halfway between 1 and 5, 8 is halfway between 6 and 10, you can just put midpoints in list 1 and frequency in list 2. But if the midpoints are a little less obvious, what you can do is put the lower limits in list 1, the upper limits in list 2, and let the calculator find the midpoints for you in list 3. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm putting the lower limits in list 1, and then I'm putting the corresponding upper limits in list 2. And you'll notice they line up. That's important. The next thing I'm going to do is go over to list 3. I'm going to go up so that the list name is highlighted. And I'm going to type a formula. I'm going to type parentheses and then second 1 plus second 2. I'm going to close the parentheses, divide by 2. What I am telling it is for every box in list 3, I want it to add the boxes from list 1 and 2 and then divide by 2, which is exactly the formula for the midpoint. But the calculator will do all of the boxes in L3 at the same time, instead of us having to do them one by one. So when you hit enter, it auto-populates that third column with our midpoints. From here, we just need to put our frequencies in list 4. And when we call one var stats, we need to tell it midpoints are in list 3, frequencies are in list 4. So stat calc one var stats, our midpoints are in list 3, our frequencies are in list 4. And just like before, it spits out that mean, and it gives us the exact same mean that we got when we calculated it by hand. All right, so that's how we use a TI-84 to find the mean. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.